Welcome to another episode of AI Product Leader. Every week we shine a light on what it really takes to join the AI world. We have real conversations with founders, product leaders, AI experts, technologists, and everything in between to understand where the AI world is right now and what that path looks like, whether you're building AI products or a career in AI. Have a question or topic? Email us and join the conversation. Support@AI Career Boost is our email address, and we'd love to hear your part in the conversation. Let's dive into the world of AI together. I'm your host, Polly Allen, and I'm the founder of AI Career Boost, where I spend my time helping product managers navigate the world of AI and transition into AI leadership roles. I've spent my career in both the product management and software development worlds, and I'm the ex-Alexa AI Principal Product Manager that launched the first generative AI answers on Alexa. I was also fortunate enough to be recognized as one of the top 100 women of the future winner, and I teach on Reforge as well as at AI Career Boost. And today, I'm super excited to be joined by Harsha Srivatsa, the co-founder and head of generative AI projects at his stealth AI startup. We're hoping to hear a little bit more about that. Harsha is pioneering the use of generative AI to transform mental health therapy, a cause I personally love. Previously, he also led AI innovation at Indriya Innovation Labs and was a product advisor and AI fellow at Superbio.ai. He even built products at places like Apple and IBM. He's a really extensive history that we'll hear about today. Harsha has a proven track record of driving product development, securing funding, and forging strategic partnerships. In a nutshell, Harsha is a believer in the transformative power of technology, AI, education, and community service. So I'm excited to jump into it today with you, Harsha. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Polly. It's a great day today. It's very sunny, and it's the best of the California sunshine out here. So I can't complain. It's really.
That's fantastic. Where are you based?
I'm based in Fremont, California, which is
Nice.
called East Bay. It's kind of 40 miles from 40, 60, 40, I think 60 miles from San Francisco. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Awesome. Well, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better and your journey in AI specifically. I know you have a really extensive career in technology and product management. Would you give us a little bit of background, sort of before AI came onto your radar, it was a big part of the products that you were building? Can you give us a bit of your background before then?
Sure. Actually, my involvement and trajectory in AI is very much mirrors the waxing and waning of AI itself, right? But before I got into the AI field, I had many years of experience doing technology consulting with Accenture in the data field. So enterprise data management, data quality, business intelligence was my focus for close to 8 years.
Wow.
And having done many data quality and data governance and metadata on the entire spectrum for many Fortune 50 clients. I've done projects with so many Silicon Valley companies. So it goes on and on. So that was a I think, a pretty good foundation and background for getting into what data is really meant for, which is
Mm.
insights and automation and things like that. Now, before I got into data stuff, I was actually in systems engineering in telecom. So I was working for AT&T Labs and Verizon in the telecom field in systems engineering. But and what happened was during my stint in Verizon, I navigated or gravitated towards data warehousing. So
Mm.
that's how it wasn't a planned thing, but somehow it happened, and then it went on. So then I did my data consulting journey, and then I went into data products and into the AI field.
Oh, interesting. And I do meet a lot of folks who are in the telecom space or particularly in the hardware side. Do you have any advice from folks who want to get out of that more systems, hardware engineering side into software on making that transition?
Yeah, the infrastructure is the bread and butter of many telecom companies. That's where it's at. But there are ways and avenues to manage it better, and utilize the exhaust from those systems. What I call exhaust is the data collected, the insights, the customers, and find avenues for new business opportunities and channels, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it could lead to very surprising opportunities. But I think the main thing is to keep an eye out on what makes sense to the business, what opportunities can you align with or identify or propose to the stakeholders, and drive that innovative mindset. So, case in
Mm.
example was I joined
Oh,
Heterogeneous as head of product to manage the cell phone tower the management systems. So these are systems that literally look at the cell phone tower operations and predictive maintenance and things like that. And when I was doing that and doing something in the 5G space and doing it at a deployment site in Singapore, I identified the use of 5G for autonomous vehicles. So that led
cool.
to AI-based fleet management of autonomous vehicles, which could not
Oh,
have been
wow.
possible without the core infrastructure provided by continuous and high-speed data communication and data transmission. But you just align yourself to another opportunity, see where you can innovate, where you can grow yourself and grow your company business, and just go with it.
I think that's so key, like focusing on the business opportunities. It doesn't really matter whether how like the implementation ceases to matter. So you kind of are allowed to work in those spaces. There's no like permission slip needed to transition, right? You just have to find the opportunity and then it's about problem solving at that point.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about your first forays into AI? Was it with this telecom example, with that project, or were you using AI before that?
I have a surprising answer for you. And as I said,
Mhm.
it waxed and waned with how AI grew or had a winter. My When I was doing my master's in computer science in Urbana, Champaign, my master's thesis was actually in neural networks. So
Wow.
I took a coursework in AI, and I worked on a very interesting neural network based project to do speech recognition, that is, device independent speech recognition, and model the learning capabilities of a 6 month old infant. Right. So what I
Wow.
did was, I think, would be the precursor for technologies that were probably used in Amazon, Alexa, and things like that. But to be honest, AI at that time was very dry and boring. It was very theoretical and
Mm,
academic, and what we think of neural networks was, four layers was considered the state of the art. And I hated programming in Prolog. I don't really did not like a lot of it. It does, and real life use cases were not there. So I
right.
utilized this opportunity in speech recognition and got a job in Verizon for implementing a call center speech recognition systems.
Oh, wow.
But the background was
So
there.
you've been with the NLP side for, since
Correct.
the OG days.
Yes.
And I'd love to hear more. I know how far you've come. I'd love to hear more about your more recent projects, as much as you can tell us from your stealth startup, if you're able.
Absolutely. And I would also like to go a little bit into the work that I did with Indriya Innovation Labs also.
Yeah, please.
So I'll be I would love to start off by saying that the catalyst for the work that I'm doing with Stealth AI startup, and by the way, I'm looking for a nice name for it. And if you have any suggestions, please give it to me.
Stealth AI sounds great.
Oh,
Just
Stealth
kidding.
AI is just a placeholder on LinkedIn to have a company. You don't have a name yet. But the real driving force is to do something worthwhile and positively impacting people and society. Um,
It's amazing.
and as I said, it was a catalyst from the work I did with Polly's course, and I was driven to figure out how to use this new tech and come up with a story that AI is not as bad it can made out to be. It can actually be used for doing good. So there is a huge component AI for good, and I want to demonstrate it. So what I'm doing right now is a project with the U.S. Veterans Administration and offering them
Amazing.
a platform where generative AI, as you think of conversational AI, and then the generative AI, as you think about generating content like music and art, when you bring them together and have give them a safe and a private and a customized space, people, US veterans, like with PTSD or other mental health issues, have a safe and always accessible platform so that they can interact with the system, get the kind of the conversational thing, even if it's with an artificial based system, and somehow feel better. Some
Yeah.
admins feel that they're invisible, there's no one to talk to, no one cares about them. So even a little thing as an AI system, if it's able to talk to them and get to know them and
Like a companion.
they're like a companion which understands and empathizes with what they are going through. So I think
Mm.
a lot of people don't do that. And I've seen, and another motivator for that was I serve on the Coast Guard auxiliary in the port of Alameda. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's a civilian volunteer thing, but I'm actually in the Coast Guard station, and there's also a naval component. I see quite a few people who are going through this, right?
Yes.
And I would love to do this, but I am driven to have a story in my life where I say I have done something and changed a few people's lives, and even if it is, I don't know, 4 or 5 people and they feel better, I think my wish will be fulfilled and my job will be done. So that's
Well, I hope it'll have a lot more impact than that. Having seen this project firsthand, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Mood Art and the project?
yeah. So this is a system which is totally self. It is something that is 24/7 and is totally accessible to anyone with a computer or a device, and they can start talking to this system. And the mood art component is actually the art therapy part. Right. So,
Mm.
what started off as art therapy has now evolved into conversational therapy and music therapy, and basically to give them a really a comforting, a really empathetic experience for the time they spend on the platform or the application. Now, the evolution of this platform, I'm taking it to the virtual reality world. So I'm trying to take it to the
Amazing.
Meta Quest world. So it becomes so much
Oh, incredible.
richer, so much this thing. And then I'm working with a device called NeuroSky, which reads brain waves, so I can figure out what the brain waves tell about the person and whether it's really helping or not. So those are certain things that I'm working with. And the biggest innovation or challenge that I hope to get done is to actually get the buy-in from clinical psychologists at the Veterans Administration.
Hmm.
So if they like it, now they have an opportunity to offer patients or people who really need help without the use of drastic things like drugs or electroshock therapy. So I think
Right.
that's where the win is, and people see the value. I just have to get it done and have some real positive use cases, testimonial use cases out there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so inspiring, Harsha. And I think a lot of cases like this, where you're looking at medically related solutions, you do have to be so aware of regulations, et cetera, around medical stuff. But it's almost like you can start with almost an entertainment use case to get those first, like, hey, if it's just a companion, it's an entertainment device. But if you're working with the clinical psychologists, I think you'll have a chance to understand what you need to do to navigate the regulation. Is that the idea?
Yes, absolutely. Regulations, buy-in, certification, those are all the gamut. There are mental health management IT solutions out there, and the process is well understood. But generative AI is a whole new ball game and brings a lot of both benefits as well as certain gotchas that these people have to look out for. For example, here's a catchphrase: your brain, the last frontier, right? Sounds like a Star Trek thing, correct? But when I mention about
Yeah.
NeuroSky, I'm actually collecting brain data. And that is the most private and unique thing about you. So, what are the
Right.
regulations concerning that? How to store brain data? Can it be misused? Turns out there are regulations for that, and I just got to know it. So, I'm trying to translate it into how to do that as capabilities and features in the product. I met this amazing person on LinkedIn, Dr. Lucia. I forgot her last name, but she's guiding me into how to take these NIST specific regulations and frameworks for neural links and brain data and make it actually work. And I believe that would be one of the first products to have something that does the data privacy for humans. What makes us human?
Wow. Oh, fantastic. And just like that's really right at the frontier of all the convergence of issues of AI, security, privacy. Super fascinating. I love it. Well, you've obviously been through a major shift from an early career in systems development, then into AI and the product management side of traditional AI, and now you're working hands-on with the latest, greatest generative AI technologies all the time. I know you're an avid learner, but how did you make that transition? From each of these transitions, I guess.
Yeah. So the first transition to what we call I can still remember that day. I was called into a super secret meeting between Accenture and IBM.
Hmm.
In their IBM Almaden labs, where they showcased the amazing technology behind the IBM Deep Blue system that won the Jeopardy contest, right? And they wanted to,
Amazing. Yeah.
wanted to figure out how to take it to the industry, and discover new applications rather than chess playing and things like that. Which is surprising because I think IBM by itself is a capable company of doing it. But anyway, I was taken into that initiative and did it for some time, and but then I'd left Accenture, by the time. Now
Yeah.
now the subsequent work experience really went into the intersection of AI and IoT. I did in smart buildings and smart elevators and things like that. So always had a component of the predictive AI going, and leveraging that for different solutions, and and use cases and applications. But somehow somebody heard about my previous involvement with IBM, so I got a chance to get on board with a joint initiative between Cognizant Technology Labs and IBM for the newly formed
Yeah.
IBM Watson practice. So the idea was I
Oh, amazing.
Watson's portfolio of solutions and the platform and take it to the industry, which in this case I focused on the insurance industry. So I did some
Mm.
interesting work in AI based home damage assessment from tornadoes and hailstorms. Right. I developed a vehicle buying advisor for Toyota Financial Services, which I think was the first free form NLP based chatbot and things like that. So
Wow.
did some very interesting application of IBM Watson technology, which I think was the forefront of AI at the time, and it was synonymous with IBM Watson. But the whole initiative flopped by itself because IBM itself flopped, and very difficult to get market traction and and positive wins. So that kind of went down into that down the tube. But the other work with
But still,
AI.
great experience to have learned that online on your, learned that on the job, right? That was really, that transition happened for you like through work, right? How about this transition into this new generative AI era?
Yeah, new generative AI era. So I was following the following the headline making news about Chat GPT, and what waves it was making, and and it suddenly seemed that it was this platform where anybody could get any answer. So I was watching that with detached interest. Why I say detached interest was,
Yeah.
I was actually in Abu Dhabi when all this thing happened, and I was just listening
Mhm.
to it peripherally, but couldn't get access to the platform and things like that. But I recognized the innovation here, right? The idea of
Right.
parsing a document repository and and able to parse out, tokenize it, and doing it is not a new problem. We had actually tried to do it with IBM Watson with the health data corpus, right? But it didn't work really well. But here,
Mm.
OpenAI has come out and leveraged some fantastic innovation, actually developed by Google, and they have this fantastic system of knowledge. The ability to query the world's knowledge, and that was really
Right.
fantastic. So when I was looking for a problem to solve, so I really liked the idea of being predictive and generative, and what are the
Mm.
possibilities that both of them could offer and solve problems in a different way. Like for example, produce works of art, which normally people suck. I suck. I mean, and a lot of people do, but I'm able.
I am not a visual person, so I can't draw without Dolly at all.
I know. So, it opened up a lot of possibilities. I could see the possibilities, but it's only at the end of, in the late last year, towards the end of last year, when I came back to the United States, I was able to get on access and start working towards a
Mm.
problem. But the real crystallization and the real progress was done when I joined on to a course called the AI Career Boost Institute. And that's when I went through
Oh.
the systematic learning and process of thinking of an idea and taking it to the MVP stage. So, I'm very thankful to Polly Allen to actually catalyze that journey and and start making that happen.
Thanks so much, Harsha. I'm so glad it was so valuable, and that to be a part of the amazing things that you're building right now, and the good that it's going to do for society. It's super inspirational to be a part of that. It's amazing. I have one last question. If you can summarize in one sentence, what is your advice to folks who want to get into AI?
Mhm.
Like where should they start? How would they get into this if they're not in it today? For product leaders.
For product leaders. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, I think one good way, and personally, what I would do is to tackle a wicked problem, right?
Mm,
And what I call a wicked problem is a problem that is well known, but there's no real good solution that is being
mm.
developed so far. And I can illustrate with a couple of examples. Um,
Perfect.
understand. I mean, we don't need to get into the full technologies and what to do, but understand what AI can or cannot do, and use that to demonstrate that a wicked problem can really be tackled, and demonstrable and tangible solutions or improvements in the state of the union can be done. Now, why am I saying this to product leaders is it ties in with leadership, vision, the innovation drive, and and by solving some wicked problems, you can identify new opportunities and
Yeah.
new
Yeah,
markets.
exactly. That's right. Do you have an example of a wicked
Yeah.
problem when you're thinking of those?
Yes. While I was doing developing a solution for the fleet management of robo taxis in Singapore, um,
Mm,
I came up with the idea of using synthetic images for accident scenario simulations. You know that uh, these autonomous vehicles or self-driving cars, they tend to run crazy and amok sometimes. And so we worked with this company called C3.ai and in the simulation platforms. And we really built up some very cool scenarios to see what autonomous vehicles would do, and whether they would crash or whether they would be able to do it. And we had some very crazy ideas, like a woman holding a baby crossing the road, eating ice cream, right? So what would the autonomous vehicles do? And it was also very
right.
serious, where we took the MIT Model Machines project and tried to evaluate them and try to implement them as scenario simulations and do it. So this really illustrates how you could tackle a wicked problem like traffic and traffic management and prevention of accidents, which is
Right.
cornerstone of city planning, road planning and everything. And again, it is to mitigate the fact that a lot of people are fearful of autonomous vehicle technology, risk associated with it, and prevention of lives. But yeah, so I think a very powerful thing is to take a problem and apply the AI part to it, or any other innovation you think works, and then demonstrate that this is really tangible and viable, and it's a good way forward for the realization of innovation, and the diffusion of innovation can happen later.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think it sounds like your advice is really get hands on as early as possible, right? Actually try to solve something that matters, and it's never been more accessible than it is today. It's super exciting time.
Got it.
Fantastic. So we have time for one last segment, and that is plugs. So tell me, Harsha, do you have anything you want to plug that's going on in your world?
Yeah, and this is a shameless plug, so I'm going to be very honest about it. It's about the AI for good theme, right?
Mm,
And I strongly believe that uh, this is both altruistic as well as is going to make a lot of business and societal sense. Um, if in the worst case scenario, if there is no tangible benefit for demonstrating the potential of AI in changing our lives and coming a new solution, I believe that it could go something like, the way of the Terminator or something like that, where people develop a fear and resistance to adoption of this technology. It's a different ball game from things like the cellular level revolution or the PC revolution, where people readily adopted it. But here there is a fear component to this, and I think that my focus, my emphasis on that is to overcome all that. If we have a showcase for AI and AI for good and doing things, solving the water problem, solving or
yeah,
enabling all kinds of new educational techniques, sharing of knowledge, healthcare advances. These are the things that are going to not only overcome friction resistance but spur even more innovation in the field. And you're going to have even more mind-blowing AI and going with that. You could have companion robots. You could have, you could think about safe space travel, with autonomous
right.
systems, right?
Solving the big problems.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's.
Exactly. How do people get involved with AI for good if they're interested in being involved at all or support you guys?
Oh yeah, so it kind of landed by accident. So while I was working in Abu Dhabi and through my company Indriya Innovation Labs, I got an opportunity to work in the smart farms. Right, so Abu Dhabi is very
Mm,
driven to implement vertical farming and smart farms because they want to be food secure. Want to have food security and be import independent of food. Right, so they are investing
gotcha.
a lots of money in huge farms, and I got involved with that, especially from the data analytics side, the monitoring side, the predictive maintenance side. Well, that is really AI for good because they are solving the most critical
Food security.
need in a society like Abu Dhabi, which is food. What No other
Hmm.
innovation matters. No other innovation is pointless if we cannot ensure food for humans, right? So that I saw, I interpreted as AI for good, even though there's some political and geoeconomic and social, but it is the ability that you can grow avocados in Abu Dhabi, which is not possible, or you're ensuring food for people in an equitable manner. So that I've translated into more of like doing good for people, doing good for society, and if God willing, and if I get the grant approval from Stanford, I'd love to lead up an initiative to do a study in India, which is the effect of environmental pollution on children's health. So
Oh, amazing.
yeah, I'm working with Stanford's Wood Institute and trying to get a grant to go and that's one of my project proposals. If you remember, Polly, is the effect of pollution on sleep. Now I'm taking it to
That's
children's
right.
health. And
Oh my
why is
gosh.
that important? Because of pollution, there's an entire generation that's going to have respiratory problems and disease, and we don't want that. So
Oh no, totally.
yeah.
Amazing. That's fantastic, Harsha. That's incredible. Can people reach out to you if they're interested in supporting your initiatives, helping in some way?
Absolutely. The more the merrier. And as I said, this is a wicked problem. I mean, what can we do about environmental pollution? India is one of the most polluted things. And what can we do to, ensure the health of our future generations? So these are things. So I definitely would love to talk to people who just want to get things done and, so show what's the art of the possible.
Fantastic. Amazing. Well, you certainly are building out the art of the possible. It's fantastic, Harsha. So from my side, I have plugs too. We do have our Reforge course. It's newly renamed Generative AI, How to Get from Idea to MVP. Harsha is a graduate of that class as well. It's coming up on Reforge on June 14th. So please be sure to register early to avoid disappointment. We have filled up in the past. So we'd love for you to join us. Other than that, I have some events coming up that if you'll sign up for the AI Career Boost newsletter, you'll be the first to know about upcoming events where you can get some free education about AI for product management, etc. And then that's what's coming up on my end. Finally, we always like to shamelessly plug the show, so don't forget to like, subscribe if you found today's description of real world projects that are happening in AI interesting. Please give us a 5 stars, a thumbs up. Really helps the podcast. Share with your friends who are interested in AI. And if you want to reach out with questions, you can always send us something at support@aicareerboost.com. We'll do our best to answer. We'd love to hear what people are interested in hearing about. So that's it for today's episode of AI Product Leader, and we'll see you all next time.